All right, we're joined by Anil Kumble. He's a JioCinema expert, of course. He's been a cricketer, he's been a coach, of course, he's now a commentator. So crossed over across various facets of the sport, really. Thank you so much for speaking to Firstpost, Anil.
Pleasure.
First off, I have to ask you, we're nearing the end of the league phase, just a few games left. The knockouts are almost here. What have been your key takeaways from the season so far?
Yeah, it's been a very tight Tata IPL so far. I mean, the games have gone really close, really high scoring in the first half of the tournament. I pity the bowlers. It's not been easy for the bowlers at all. So that's something that perhaps one needs to sort of look at in terms of bringing about a balance between bat and ball. Then, of course, the impact player rule has brought in an innovation where the batters just go there and just start hitting from ball one. We've seen that. We have seen batters really go hard in the power play. We saw that against Lucknow, where in less than 10 overs, 160 was chased. It's never happened in the Tata IPL. The highest score was chased down. So it's been a very interesting IPL and very difficult to sort of identify who's actually dominated this Tata IPL as a team. Very little difference between teams. Yes, the points table suggests that you have top four and also the bottom six. But when you actually look at matches that have been played, they've been pretty close. So, and the other aspect to this whole thing, it's really nice to see some uncapped Indian talent coming through this as well. It goes to show that there is so much of talent in India. Identify them and give them an opportunity like this IPL. They will certainly shine, and that is a clear message to some of the franchise as well. That look, you need to back your Indian talent.
Spoken also, when you speak about the imbalance that's there between bat and ball, spoken from somewhere very close there. It somewhere hit home. But would you reckon that it's time for the governing body to sit down again and see, because we're seeing a drastic shift in the way T20 is, being played now. It's almost very baseball-like. Do you see them coming, and would you want a rule change and for these things to be a little less skewed compared to what they are now?
See, first of all, I think we need to maximize the boundaries. Number one, I know you can't change the stadium. You don't have a choice. The maximizing the boundary, I mean, the dugouts that are there are now taking up a little bit of space. Maybe sacrifice a few seats, take the dugout into the stands, make sure that the playing field is clear of any obstructions. Then you have that 3 meter, space that you need to give for photographers for any emergency movement, plus the 3 meters that you need after the advertising boards to the row, which means that you can literally have the boundary 6 to 7 meters or maybe 8 meters from the fence, which today I guess it's much shorter. So maybe that's one. I know it's not going to change the way the batters are batting. I mean, they don't really look whether it is a 60-yard boundary or a 80-yard boundary. They're hitting it in the stands, but at least that will give some sort of a semblance of support to the bowlers. Number one. Number two, I think, T20 is all about batting, but also maybe in the power play, we need to sort of look at how we can bring the bowler into the game. Maybe the ball can have a slightly higher seam because today the ball hardly swings. So that's something that I think, you can look at. So these two maybe to start with and then see how it goes, because it's important to have the bowlers in the game. Otherwise, I've been sort of suggesting or talking about it on commentary as well, saying some games have become like book cricket. You just open the book we used to play as a kid.
Yes.
In with friends. So it's become like that. So and sometimes the zero is taken away from the book. So it's a bit of a challenge when you don't get a wicket and you're hurting, and it certainly is demoralizing for a bowler. So you need to bring about the balance. I guess the second half of the tournament, you've seen a lot more bowlers come in, but it also talks about the kind of quality some of the bowlers have sort of put in as well, the effort. I mean, to shine in such a scenario
Right.
has been outstanding. They need to also get the limelight. Yes, the batters are getting all the limelight. Yes, the purple cap is there, but I think some of the bowlers who haven't picked up the wickets, but they have bowled really with their heart out, certainly need a mention.
One match that is, of course, everyone's very keenly wanting to, waiting to see unfold is the one that's going to happen on the 18th, which is Bengaluru versus Chennai. Pretty much could be the decider in many ways. How do you see that one matching up, and whom are you giving the slight edge to in this scenario, in this face-off?
Yeah, I think first of all, we need to pray to the weather gods that they won't intervene. Because the last thing that you want is the match to get affected by rain. There is some rain around in Bengaluru, so that's something that you need to think of. But otherwise, RCB has done really well in the second half of the tournament. I think the last 5 games they've been on a roll. They certainly have the momentum going into this game. But CSK, we all know how well oiled they are in terms of crunch games. How well they are equipped to get to the playoffs. There's been hardly an instance where they haven't really qualified for the playoffs, other than one instance. They have qualified literally every time and won 5 times. So that experience and the ability to sort of get to the playoffs certainly is in favor of CSK. So it's going to be a very tight game. It's not just about RCB winning. I mean, they need to win by 18 runs. They need to win in 18.1 overs, which is not that much of an issue, because it's just this game. They're not, they don't need to depend on other results.
Yes.
So that's one good thing for RCB. So it's all in their control. They've done really well to get to this stage. Yeah, it's going to be a 50-50. I can't really call it who it's going to be, but I think even if RCB win that game, I still feel that CSK will get to the playoffs. I don't think it'll be one of those where they'll be able to get there with the net run rate. That's how I see it. But it's going to be a very close game.
Everyone obviously speaks of this particular, these matches, this IPL being a build-up to the T20 World Cup. That's just some days away. You see some of the key players from the Indian setup already in that zone, preparing for that, because that is another big tournament. Everyone's eyes are on that as well. Just a word on someone like Hardik Pandya, Anil. How, if you had looked at a disappointing run in the whole tournament, you would say probably Mumbai, because a lot was expected of them. How would he sort of look at, you've been in situations, you have been a captain in 10 situations under pressure. What would you say to someone like a Hardik when he has to pick himself up from this position and then head to a World Cup?
No, I think playing the World Cup itself certainly is something that all the players would be looking forward to. So that brings the best out of you. That's number one. It's been a hard time for Hardik, at Mumbai Indians, as a player, as a captain, more importantly. They didn't have a great season. Currently, they're at the bottom of the table. They'll want to at least not finish at the bottom. They would like to, it's nice to see him get some wickets towards the back end of the tournament. He's got his bowling come through. His batting hasn't been really that effective in this Tata IPL.
Right.
So, yeah, I think, the time that you have between the IPL and the World Cup, I'm sure, that's a time where he can just refresh. And we all know the quality of a Hardik Pandya in terms of his batting ability and also his bowling ability with the Indian team, because it's required. It's required. Someone like a Hardik needs to be at the top of his game for India as a finisher, as someone who can bowl those 4 overs for India. So I Yeah, I know it's been hard for Hardik, but I think it's a good thing for him to just start focusing on the Indian matches. So which certainly will not get affected with what has gone on over the last couple of months with the Mumbai Indians. So I think it's a good thing. I'm sure he can sit back
Yeah.
after the World Cup and start to analyze what went wrong with Mumbai Indians. I don't think this is the time for him to. So one thing that I would like to tell him is not to sit down now and think through what happened with Mumbai Indians, but look ahead and see how he can contribute and how he can ensure that he'll be able to get his team, Indian team, through to the semi-finals and the finals in the World Cup. I think if he's looking ahead, and then maybe once the World Cup is done, he can always sit down and go through what went wrong with Mumbai Indians.
Just a couple of questions, of course, before we let you go, Anil. One is, who are you? I mean, I have to put you on the spot here. Who are your predictions for the final there? We're going to jump a few rungs, not the playoffs anymore. Quite a few spots taken off there. But who are your finalists for this season?
I think KKR should get through to the finals for sure, because they're going to get two cracks at it. The way that they are playing, they still don't have a couple of players in top form, which is not a bad thing. People like Mitchell Stark still hasn't fired for KKR. Rinku Singh hasn't really been the Rinku Singh of last season. So in that sense, they still have a few players who need to put their hand up. They've done it in very sporadically, but if you look at the ability and the quality that they have, you would have expected a lot more from them. Of course, Rinku didn't get too many opportunities because Sunil Narayan literally dominated this Tata IPL, not just with the ball, but also with the bat. So I think KKR should get through. The other team would be very interesting because it's still open. It can be both Chennai and RCB qualifying. You never know. If SRH falter, I know we are doing this talk before the SRH game against GT, and if SRH lose both the games, then it could be RCB, Chennai, RR, and KKR qualifying. And if RR don't win their game against KKR, and if RCB lose to Chennai, then Chennai could be playing KKR in that qualifier. So there's still a lot of permutation combinations. And if Chennai can get to Chennai, then I think they'll be very, very dangerous, very dangerous. So I would still back a KKR at this point in time because of the form they have been in and the kind of performances that they've been able to churn out. Everyone's doing really well. Should do it, although they'll certainly miss Phil Salt for the playoffs. But they have Gurbaz, who sort of is a like-to-like for a Salt. So in that sense, I think Phil Salt will certainly be missed, his form. But I certainly believe that KKR have it in them to go all the way.
All right, you've given us one option there, but that we'll have to be happy with that one. But just wrapping things up here, how's your stint been so far, and how have you enjoyed all of the innovations that we've seen on the broadcast at JioCinema at this point?
No, it's been wonderful. It's always nice to come here at JioCinema. This time around, we had the new studios, in the JioCinema here, and we enjoyed it. It's nice to see a couple of other languages come in as well. Haryanvi is there. I know that there's some traction there as well. So the reach of JioCinema to attract different audiences and cater to different languages, I think that's very unique. And it's also a time for us to sort of sit back and look at what unfolds in front of us. I mean, this time around, like I mentioned, the batting has been outstanding. I mean, the power hitting of we all thought that the power hitting was from the international players, but the uncapped Indian batters have showed what they're capable of. The Abhishek Sharmas, the Shashank Singhs, Ashutosh Sharma, and even Nitish Reddy. These guys have shown that they have the capabilities to, again, knock on the Indian door. And I'm sure some of these guys will be featuring with the Indian team very soon. So it's very heartening to see such kind of talent emerge because of the opportunities that they get. So it's nice to call out all of this and look at some young players coming through the ranks and to be able to get an opportunity to talk about their game is fantastic. And of course, at the JioCinema, we also have an opportunity to catch up with my old friends and, all of them here with different languages. So we're all catching up here or at breakfast, reminiscing all our times and having fun. So it's all about that. And it's wonderful to be a part of this ecosystem.
Yeah, I'd like to be a fly on the wall for that one, but maybe some other time. Thank you, Anil. Thanks a lot for joining in and speaking to us. We'll catch you a little later.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global south. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.